Welcome to another fun-filled session of Prepper Talk Radio with Scott, Shane, and Paris. We are broadcasting. No, we're not. We're recording. No, we're not. We are streaming. We are doing everything, guys. If you're not following us on socials, you're missing out because we have this loaded up every week. It goes launched onto YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, all the different platforms for podcasts. And guess what? We do a live stream every Thursday night in our private Facebook group. So if you're not already there, you need to get over there and engage with us. Tonight, we're going to have a fun show going into the mistakes we make. So prepper mistakes. We're going to talk about some of the most blatantly obvious ones. We're going to talk about some of the ones that are a little bit less obvious. But before we get into it, I want to remind you that this episode, as I'm rubbing my face, because I just got something in my eye, this episode is brought to you by our favorite event, the Ready Summit. Get your tickets at thereadysummit.com. Promo code PrepperTalk to save 10%. Right now, the tickets are half off, so you can actually stack down that discount and save even more. The event goes live the 28th, 29th, and 30th of July. And yours truly, Scott, will be speaking at said event. So look forward to seeing you there. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be our own private community where we can connect, stay connected, engage, learn, and they've got a summit every 2 months. So without further ado, as Shane's cracking his neck and fiddling with his conflicted plug, let's jump into the mistakes we make.
Well, here's a mistake I didn't make. Let me say that. So I woke up this morning at 3 o'clock with a toothache. So what do I do? I go down and get my Jase Medical antibiotics, amoxicillin, and start taking those. I've got an abscess from a tooth I should have gotten a root canal on. So they've come in handy already. So there's that.
And for those of you who are interested, go to jasemedical.com, use the code PrepperTalk, save 10%. Sorry, no, $10. Get $10 off on your order over there with your Essentials Antibiotics Kit. We love those guys. It's awesome.
Yeah, my brother actually messaged me today. He said that he, like a couple of days after he listened to that podcast, he got sick and he couldn't leave the house to go to the hospital, doctor or anywhere. And so he called his neighbor, and his neighbor had some extra antibiotics left over that he was able to use. He's like, bro, I should have gotten one of those kits after I listened to it, but I didn't. And so I think he's going to grab a kit as well soon. So it's just, you've got to have those. You never know. You just never know what's going to happen, when it's going to happen. So you just got to be prepared, be ready. And that's one. Jase Medical is the Jase case is fantastic. For that, being able to do that. Here's my Jase case. I don't know if you can see it, but anyways.
Yeah, you've got to be careful about self-diagnosing too, right? I think, because just don't go starting taking antibiotics if you're not feeling good, right? So, I've been dealing with this for a little while, right? I've been dealing with it for the past about year or so, just trying to let my body take care of it rather than going and getting a root canal. So we'll see if I really need a root canal, but so far it's been getting better, and then all of a sudden I start getting this pain. So that's why I chose to take some antibiotics, because it made sense to me. I wasn't, I'm not just out there popping pills, right? So
and that's the key. It's like wisdom in all things, right? That's why we prepare. We do all the things we do in preparation so that we don't have to worry about something when it happens. So we're not caught off guard as much as the next guy. Speaking of being caught off guard, I was actually at an event just a couple nights ago and talking about preparedness. And one of the people there threw out everything that I'm doing and everything that I've got going on that I confided in. So don't share with the wrong people.
Prepper mistake number one.
Than I should, because of the platforms I'm on, that I'm trying to help educate people. I probably share. Shane looks at what I do a lot of times and is like, "What are you doing? You're oversharing." And I'm like, "Yes, I am."
No, I get it. I get it. It's I definitely share I think the least on social media anyway. I keep wanting to just pull the plug and just be done.
Well, there's wisdom in that. Like, you don't want to you don't want to disclose too much. You don't want to disclose anything you don't have to disclose, because once it's out there, it's hard to take back. So that is the number one mistake that preppers make, is they over disclose. If you want to create a community of preppers, you take it a small step at a time. You vet everybody out to make sure you trust them. And then you have to go off of wisdom, go off of what your gut feeling is, follow the Holy Spirit from God, and see if they're safe to talk to whatever topic you're feeling like you need to talk to them about. Because there are a lot of wolves in sheep's clothing out there that are going to try to take advantage of you, upside down, sideways, right, left, every way in between. They're going to try to take advantage of you. So you got to watch out for that.
Yeah. Even people that you get to the point where you can feel like you trust, still, you want to love people. You want to give them the benefit of the doubt. You want to trust people, but recognize, I think Jordan Peterson said it really best. He says, I have snakes, you have snakes, but let's work together to trust each other. We all have problems. We're all human. We all prone to make mistakes, and we can all do some things that we might regret, but definitely do your best to stay. In fact, I was doing on my YouTube channel the other day, and I was talking about the inflation that's going on and what I'm doing for that. And I started talking about some of the things that I'm doing, investing in gold and silver in my precious metals collection. And I started talking about what I have. And I was like, wait a minute, no, what am I saying? So I actually edited that out of my video, because I was like, I do not actually want to share that on YouTube. So
yeah, I do see I see a lot of preppers out there who have their channels, and then they show a big stack of gold and silver that they have, or their preps, they got guns in the background or whatever, and like that's just too much. I get the purpose. There's a purpose in everything. Hopefully you've got a purpose for what you're trying to do. And I learned a really important lesson today. I was talking with a close friend, and he sent me a link to a video. And he said, his comment was like, wow, like, oh, wow. And I watched the video, and it's just something of this lady. She's at Costco, and shopping, do some bulk shopping. And to me, that was completely normal, right? I mean, it was nothing out of the ordinary. And I found for him, it was, I got to do this. This is different. And not a lot. And I have a hard time imagining that. It's like, this is me to a T. At Costco with all these same things that they're showing on this video. Like, this is no big deal. But it was a big deal to him, and my eyes were completely open. Like, wow, that was very simple. And when I share something, I want to get kind of deep and contemplative. Like, that's a word, right? And have a lot of meaning to it. But simple things like that inspired him, where I just didn't get it, because it was just so normal to me.
Yeah. It's crazy, the things that to kind of inspire people to get going and move forward. And that's really the important thing, is inspiring people to move forward. You don't have to get into all the guns and ammo and all that kind of stuff necessarily, or all the gold and silver, but definitely I mean, you don't have to get into the details of that to explain to people. Right. Yeah, definitely just say, hey, look, I have gold, I have silver, don't tell anybody how many ounces, don't tell me how, where it is in your house, don't do stupid stuff like that. But that, oversharing is definitely something that, because you get excited. I mean, I'll be honest with you. So when I first started prepping, I actually had September is National Emergency Preparedness Month. And I had people at my church come over, because I wanted to inspire people to be a prepper. So I would have them come over to my house, and we would do like a get together, and I would show them all of my preps in my house. And, I showed them my food storage. I showed them my water storage. And then I showed them some of my gear, my packs, my kits, my bags. And I didn't show, everything, but I showed enough that hopefully it inspired people. And so, yeah, these people at my church are people I trust anyways, or should trust. And so hopefully that was okay. And I didn't shoot myself in the foot, but we've got to be open, yet still kind of like cautious, because communication security is critical.
Absolutely. That's the biggest thing, is people, we all want to, we live in a society where everyone's bragging.
Yes,
all
absolutely.
Social media is the sunshine lens of life. It's, hey, look what I did. We went to Disneyland. We went and did this. We bought a new car. Look at my cool bikini. Look.
Yeah, I don't know about the
in
bikini,
preparedness, one of the big topics is gray man, and it's
At least not Scott in the bikini.
wait, what?
You said my cool bikini, and I was like, I don't know, bro, about that. You in a bikini.
Not me. That's what you see other people doing. If you're on that stupid Instagram,
I know,
which
it's
we are,
ridiculous.
it's like half of it
It's
is
ridiculous.
look at my fashion.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The other half of it, like, here's my feed. When I hop on there, I have like 13 different keywords of Toyota stuff that I follow, Overlanders, FJ Cruisers, mostly Forerunner stuff.
Mhm.
Like it's my jam. And I'm like, oh, that's so cool. I want to build one of those. Oh, I would, yeah. It's like it's exciting. And then all of a sudden it's like, look at this dress. I'm like, I don't care. No, get out of there. And they have the ads in. I'm like, have they not realized yet who I am? And the rest of it's like prepping stuff and friends.
I worry about the young people I see on there. Like, what are you doing? It's very, very sad to me to see a lot of these young people trying to get attention out there. Mm-hmm. I'll just don't go any further on that.
It just goes to show,
yeah,
we need to do a better job of loving one another. That's I mean, that's why do we prep and why do we help with people getting better to be prepared with our podcast? It's because we love you and we want you to do better. We want you to be in a better situation. Other mistakes that people make besides, disclosing too much information and making mistakes of who you should tell anything to that you maybe shouldn't trust at all. Some of the big ones are gear centered or the wrong food storage centered. One of the things that I've always done is when I buy food storage, I always test it immediately. I don't open all of it, especially if it's like, because the long-term food storage, you're buying that not knowing when you're going to eat it for the most part. And it has maybe a 10-year shelf life or a 15 or 25, or there's a product I came across last week that I just love. It's a 30-year food storage product. And they're able to do that because of the way they sealed the cans. They have a double lining and it protects the food longer, preserves everything, but it also keeps cans from rusting. So it's like, wow, that's amazing. But I'm like, I'm cracking a few of these open right now to eat and test. And oh my gosh, the pineapple. I did a TikTok video.
Well, yeah, that's candy. That's some good stuff.
It's the most delicious freeze-dried food. Pineapple. Most delicious pineapple I've ever had. Then I tried the mangoes. It's the only mangoes I've ever had that were freeze-dried. Oh my gosh, another candy. I'm like, this is amazing.
Well, yeah, and I think along that same thread is, for me, it would be too much of a good thing, right? Mm-hmm. If a lot of people will go out and buy, okay, there's 4 people in my family, I'm going to go buy one of these freeze-dried kits for a family of 4 for a year, right? And all they do is they buy it and they stack it and put it in the corner. First of all, man, that's going to get old. You're going to be so sick of that food, most likely, if that's all you have. I mean, it's better than nothing, right? But buy 3 months worth of that. And I preach this all the time, right? Fill your cupboards with 3 months and then have some bulk grains. Diversify in food in particular, right? And I think that was one mistake I see personally among my own family, among neighbors. Oh yeah, I went down to the store or I ordered online and got my year's supply for my family of however many, and it's down in my storage room. Okay, I think you'll learn a hard lesson that way when you start to eat that. And like you're saying, Scott, breaks it open, start eating it, and then you realize, man, this will get old quick if we eat this every dinner.
But also, like, you'll find out the food quality really fast. So you don't, and the reason why I say that is if you don't do that, you might go buy more and be like, oh, I got an extra $400. I'm gonna go
go stock up on more of that. Right?
Don't until you've tested it.
Yeah,
because there are some. I mean, there have been in the past companies that put cheap fill to get the weight right, and then they ship out
and the calories and
right. I'm not going to say names of some of the companies. Some of them still exist, but they're just not, like, they don't taste good, and it tastes like livestock feed. They're not. That company is not one of the main ones you're going to see anywhere, so I don't worry about it. But it's like, make sure you do your research before you go buy something. The same goes for any gear purchase. Like, just because it's got a cool marketing tagline does not mean it's actually going to do the purpose you need. It's like the bug out bags. You buy those pre-made bug out kits. Why? Like, why?
Yeah.
First of all, you probably bought the worst backpack on the market. Second of all, it's probably 15 pounds more than it needs to be. And everything in there's going to break.
Yeah.
And it's garbage. It's cheap Chinese crap.
Yeah. Again, taking things to the easy route, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, just go buy this and don't try and put a kit together yourself. Don't practice with it. And I think, also along that same line is, maybe this is number 3 or number 4, wherever we're at on this prepping mistakes, is there are a lot of gimmicky items out there for sale, right? It may seem cool, like, especially if you're new to prepping and you don't have much experience backpacking or bushcrafting or anything like that. You'll see some cool device. So, oh, that's cool. I'm going to order that. And then you realize I'll probably never use this, right? So
I found myself deep in that when I was doing PrepperCon. Like,
oh yeah.
You saw some of the stuff and I'm like,
get all the cool stuff.
What I got. And then I go test it and I'm like, this sucks.
I'm not going to use this. Yeah.
Like,
kind of reminds me of that old Rambo knife, that it had the little container in the handle that you could put all this stuff in. And you're like, man, this is the one-stop shop for knives. I'll have everything I need with this one knife. It's $19.95 or whatever ridiculous amount. And then you go and use it for 5 minutes, and the handle falls off, and the screw comes loose, and the blade's over there, and you're like, what did I just buy? Like, I'm gonna kill myself.
Yeah, I mean, there's some nice quality knives like that, but you're talking $300, $400, $500 for the ones I would prefer. But yeah, if it's $19.95, walk away, run away. You gotta get some quality tools, and if it's cheap, just know that it's not gonna be worth it. Oh, look, that's only $20. No, run away. Just don't buy it.
Yeah,
well, it's like those
in general,
survival shovels. Like, you can find them on almost everybody sells them. I don't understand why everybody sells these survival shovels, and some of them are like, we got you the micro shovel, and I'm like, excuse me, what?
What are you going to do with that?
The micro shovel.
You're going to eat dinner with it?
Is it a spoon?
Yeah.
And it's a folding spoon, basically. Like, what am I going to dig with this?
But it's lightweight, and you can put it anywhere, right?
Right. I mean, there's so many things that just like, what's the point of? Most of us live in a suburban environment. I don't need a wilderness survival kit because I'm not in the wild.
Absolutely.
But
I have a full-size shovel in the bed of my truck, and that's, it stays there, right? Full size, so I can actually use it. I do have a nice folding shovel that I can throw in my backpack, but I've used that for when we go dig out caves, right? We used to do a lot of caving, and that would be purpose driven, right? If you need something, figure out what the purpose is, and then focus on finding that tool that fills that purpose, not just something that does 1,000 or 100 different things, or even a dozen different things. Most likely, it's not going to do anything very well.
That's it. Like, don't buy the multi-tool that you don't need to buy. Like, there are certain types of multi-tools that are like perfect. Like, for example, you're going to probably pull out your Victorinox Swiss Army. I've got my favorite is I've got a Gerber one that's just amazing. Get the one that makes sense to you, the one with the tools you're going to use. Those are great. But when you start getting into like the weird, like, it's a hammer, it's a hatchet, it's a shovel, it's a crossbow, it's a zombie apocalypse slayer blade,
and it's $19.95.
Surgery on your appendix when it bursts, all for the price of $19.95, as Shane just said. Like, those things, stay away.
Yeah, agreed, absolutely. Like this one, I have carried this tool. I like new tools, so this is probably my third one of these. I use it for work, so I kind of get rough on it. This is about $100 tool, and you can spend about $125 with some additional tools and pouches and such. But absolutely worth the money. The quality, the finish, everything. I wouldn't spend any. And there's other nice tools out there that are less money. Don't get me wrong. I've just settled on this particular brand, this particular tool, because of my experience with Swiss Army knives growing up as a kid, right?
It's the same for, you look at somebody in a trade. They're going to get really specific on the best tools for their trade because they fulfill that purpose. preparedness is a trade. People don't realize that. Like, there are certain tools that make more sense to have as a preparedness person than others. And there's other things that you're like, that's garbage. Why do I even want that? You know, like going back to the backpacks. I know Paris loves it when I bring this up, but like, I've bought backpacks, like survival kits, and I've tested them out, and I'm like, I don't like this one. I don't like that one. I don't like this one. I bought one from Thrive Foods years and years and years ago. The backpack was the biggest piece of garbage. Like, literally the biggest piece of garbage.
When you spend $100, you get a free backpack, right?
Well, it was a survival kit for 2. And this was when I completely changed like my mind. This was 2004-ish, maybe 2005.
Mm-hmm.
My mom's like, "Hey, we're getting these. Do you want one?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I've already got stuff." She's like, "It's got some other stuff in it. We'll buy it for you for Christmas." And I'm like, "Yes, I'll take it."
Fine.
Well, it had some Thrive food in it. It had some other tools, but like it had some really cool tools that actually made great sense. A flat pry bar, headlamps, like all the stuff that I'd been like wanting to get but didn't spend the money. It had a version of those that I'm like, oh, this will hold me over. I was a college student at the time. It was like the perfect get to the next level bag, but it was a 72-hour kit for 2. And that's what converted me to a 96-hour kit for 1. Seeing that, wow, playing with it and testing it out, I'm like, I need more food. I need water filters. I can't carry as much water as I thought I could carry.
Yeah, I think that's another mistake too, is that you buy something and you stick it in your storage or somewhere and you never do anything with it. Yeah. That's a big prepper mistake too, is you don't know if it's not good for you because you spent good money on it, right? You want to save it for the emergency that it's meant for, right? You want to have it when you need it. You don't want to use it up, but how are you going to know if it's what you need? You need to get in and practice and really try out the things. And if you buy those kinds of kit, I don't recommend it. Like Scott and I were saying, build your own kit. And like I've shown this a million times. Like this knife, I've had this thing for 10 years, and I keep looking at other knives. I'm like, no, this is the perfect knife. And I keep looking at other knives. Like, well, I like the bug out. The Benchmade bug out is probably another one that I might switch for this, but I'm perfectly happy with this. But it just takes experience and time and just working with those things to know what you like and what you don't like. And same with flashlights. I've had literally 2 dozen flashlights. So this is what I'm carrying right now, but it's for a very purpose driven, and not just, oh, that looks cool, I'm going to buy that. It takes time, and unfortunately, I don't know how much time we have to be messing around and playing around. So hopefully, you can take some of these words of wisdom and interpret what we're trying to say, and put a little more time, quality time into searching and practicing and training and such.
Which leads to the next big challenge that I see a lot of preppers get stuck in, is they freeze. They start doing research and they're like, oh, I want to get the best one. And then they'll research it to death and they'll know everything about every product, but they won't have what they need.
Are you pointing at Paris?
No. Is Paris
this guy here? Is that what you do, Paris?
I have been caught. I have had the disease of paralysis of analysis in the past.
I didn't really.
Have you purchased that generator yet, Paris?
Oh yeah,
no, not yet. Because I'm still in the paralysis of analysis. I want to get the right one. I want to get the right.
I totally agree. But, sometimes you have to make that mistake, right? You have to make that mistake. Like, I would really like a dual fuel generator, but I've got 2 generators. I don't need a 3rd generator, but I can see how a dual fuel would really make a lot of sense. So that's a mistake I've made, right? And I'm paying for it right now because I don't want to go spend another $800,000 on a generator when I already have 2 gas generators. So just you have to live and learn, right? You buy it and like, okay, dang it, this isn't what I wanted, what I needed, but I didn't figure it out until I made the mistake, right? So you have to go out and make the mistake. And unfortunately, it's not a big mistake. I still have 2 generators. Well,
they have
one here at the property, one at home.
They have Facebook Marketplace for mistakes like that.
Absolutely, yeah. That's a great option. Yeah, to go buy something used.
What's awesome is I have a dual fuel generator in the garage, and it is fantastic. I love it.
Okay, I'm buying one.
I've got propane and I've got fuel, and I don't put any fuel in it until I absolutely need it, and then I connect the propane first.
So I want to buy that. I want to buy the dual fuel generator for that. But my biggest hang up right now in paralysis of analysis is, and I don't know that we need it. Let's not get into the discussion of it, but is the solar bank, which one of those to get, which solar battery bank to get. And that is a mistake. It is a mistake to get so caught up in the paralysis of analysis that you don't pull the trigger and do something. It's better to have, I think it was Colin Powell that said that the biggest concern with Americans is not making the wrong decision. It's indecision. By not making a decision, we actually are making a decision. And so if you make it's better to make the wrong decision than to make no decision at all.
Yep.
But is there a difference between that and procrastination, right? Is it one and the same thing? Because that's on my list as well as procrastination. And that can be more of a mental attitude, rather like, I know you're like, I want to make the right decision here, and you're moving forward. Procrastination is probably just like, I should get this, but I'm going to go take the kids out on vacation, right? Instead, right? Or
there's a
funny
difference.
Is like, get the dual fuel. It's affordable compared to the solar, right? The solar and the battery bank is going to be the most expensive option. Now, long term, it's the best option. Short term, a little generator is going to go a long way. Yeah. A dual fuel generator is going to go even farther. But then long term, look at the other solutions, right? Yeah.
Paris and I had a nice discussion about this. He was thinking of getting a larger battery bank, right? Like a 3,000 watt or something like that, and say, you know what? Split it up. Get a smaller generator and get a smaller battery bank, so you have some different options depending on your situation. Like, how long is that 3,000 watt inverter and battery bank going to really power your fridge? 4 or 5, 6, 8 hours, maybe, Whereas that generator, you can store enough fuel to run for a week. And what are you really going to use your battery bank for running lights? I mean, are you really going to try and power your furnace fan? I mean, what's the most practical way to do that? And splitting it up to me seems more practical.
Agreed.
That makes sense.
Because then you can also disperse the load. Putting a whole load on one bank is a lot.
And if it fails,
one inverter, that's a lot, right?
If it fails, you got no other option. Where one of the two generator or the battery bank fails, you got another option. So
got a backup.
One is none, two is one.
None, and two is one.
Yep.
And 3 is just right.
That's right. And 3 is just right. So I guess I need a third generator. So
there you go. That's your
and 3 justification. Is just the
beginning. Right. Oh, I don't know if we talked about it when we were back talking about food storage, but I think one of the bigger mistakes, another big mistake that people make when they buy these freeze-dried things is they don't look at the calories per day. Right. And they just buy the 6-month supply thinking they got it, and they go with a cheaper price, only to realize that they got a 6-month supply. It's only 1,000 or 1,500 calories a day, when the other one was not that much more, but it was 2,000 or more calories per day. And you're always going to go better. The more calories per day that you have, that's how you should price it. You shouldn't price it based on how much
servings
or how much. You should price it by calories. Yeah, the calories.
The other thing is find out what your metabolic rate burns a day and buy for that. That was a game changer for me. And I learned that from Marcelo over at Food Storage Depot. He and I were having this conversation a couple months back, and he was like, well, what's your resting metabolic rate? I'm like, what's that matter?
I don't know.
Yeah, what does that
He's
mean?
like, well, how many calories do you eat a day? And I'm like, probably too many, but like between 3,000 to 4,000. And he's like, here, go on this website, fill this out. He just did a Google search, found a resting metabolic rate calculator. And for me to like rest and not lose weight, I need about 3,800 calories a day just to be able to do my normal day. But if I'm in a survival situation, I'm going to be at 4,500 calories. But for me to just like, if I wanted to sleep all day, I think it was 2,900 calories for me to just rest all day. I'm like, I need to lose weight so I don't have to have as much food storage. But then again, I have food storage, right?
Yeah, that's your 96-hour kit right there. You just need to add water to it, right?
Yeah, you got to keep water and some electrolytes so I don't just keel over.
Or just do the calculation based on your ideal weight or the weight you want to have.
There you go. Yeah, that's true.
And then you really know, okay, here's where we're going to be. Here's what the situation is, and obviously during a traumatic time, during a disaster, during those situations, you're going to burn a lot more calories.
Mm-hmm.
If I've got to take down a couple of trees this week, I'm going to burn a lot more calories.
Yep.
If I'm building a cabin or a new shelter, I'm going to burn a lot more calories. If I'm hiking from here, resettling into a new location 300 miles away, that's a lot of calories. So you got to figure out what you're doing, what your plan is, what emergencies you're facing, and plan for those things. And that's another thing. The biggest mistake, or one of the other big mistakes I see, is people will go out and they'll hear of a certain situation, they'll prep for that, but not plan for the things that are most likely going to happen around them. Not plan for the daily disasters, like the what if I lose my job?
Mm-hmm.
What if I lose a loved one? What if our household income goes from 2 incomes to 1? What if I'm disabled?
Mm-hmm.
Those have always been the priority prepping issues, and then power outages, and then severe storms. That's kind of the order of things for me. Then I get into like the sexy things, right? The zombie apocalypse, the anarchy, the EMPs, like that's the in the prepping world, in movies and books. That's the sexy events. That's the SHTF that everyone wants to talk about.
The collapse,
the calamities.
I think that's another mistake too. Is it having too much of a certain thing, right? The sexy part, right? Let's start off. Oh man, I love firearms and guns and and shooting, and this is one of my hobbies, and so I have 3 or 4 long range rifles, and I've got a couple of different shotguns and several of this rifle, several of that. I mean, if that's hurting your preparedness on getting a generator, on getting food storage, that's a big mistake, right? Having too much of a good thing, right? And that can be hard because you go look around, you're going to want to buy things, right? You go to the gun store, you're going to say, man, I'd like to have that rifle, but you got to be, I got to be realistic. Say, I don't need it. I don't, it's cool. Yes, it will probably go up in value. So it would be a solid investment, right? If I ever wanted to let go of it, and maybe it is a safe place to put some cash, who knows? But I think having too much of anything in particular, whether it's guns or bullets or even gold and silver, I think there's a certain point where you can maybe have too much. That's a topic we could talk about for quite a while.
Well, that goes back to not getting more than you can manage, right? More that, like, there's a certain reasonable amount that each of us can manage in our day-to-day lives, and if we get the right amount, we're in such a good situation. The whole minimalist movement basically came around that because, like, you get all this stuff and then you just store it. What are you gonna do with all? Like,
that's the use of my Kwanzaa, right? I mean, I got too much stuff. I need places to put all this stuff.
But you have a huge family. You're not taking you got to remember, like, you've got to take into consideration the group that you're with and who you're helping prep for. You're helping prep for a lot of people, so you need more space. Because when things go sideways, there's going to be family members living in there, right? That's
the plan. I got the plan all already set. So
I'll be living there. Wait, what?
I think he'll let you live in the dilapidated home if it's
right
torn down.
in the old house with all the 2 feet of manure in it. Yeah.
So, there you go.
Well, I'll
be in my tent in the back with my kids.
There we go.
Let me share another mistake. For that. Let me share another mistake I'm thinking about is that somebody else will do that, or somebody else will take care of that. That is a huge mistake. I think a lot of people, and I'm going to preach to the choir for a minute right now. How many of you out there listening right now have that buddy that's like, why do I need to prepare? I'll just come to your house. Oh my! How many of you have felt? I very rarely feel like punching someone in the nose, but that's one of those places. That's one of those times where I get that feeling. And the other thing is maybe skill sets. Like somebody else will learn how to be the doctor. Somebody else will learn the first aid. Somebody else will do that. I'll do something else. And that's, we can't learn everything, but we need to be, as said, we've talked about the jack of all trades is a master of none, but the rest of the saying goes, but more often better than somebody who's just a master of one. So being a jack of all trades is actually a good thing. Knowing a little bit about everything is important. And so you've got to recognize that somebody else may be better at it than you, but you've got to at least have a foundational knowledge. So don't put it off to somebody else to learn. That's the best way for you to be self-reliant and completely again, Shane, you've said this before, we can't be 100% self-sufficient, but to be self-reliant is to have the capacity to figure things out. And if you've got a little bit of knowledge, a little bit of skill set, you can then take that and you can grow into the next, level of skill set that you need to pretty quickly. But don't put it off. Don't think that, somebody else will do that, because you might not have a somebody else.
Unless you have plans, right? And I think there's definitely something to be said to say, okay, honey, you are good at caretaking, taking care of people, right? She is going to develop her nursing skills, right? Develop her mother-baby skills, those types of things, birthing. I think there's definitely something to be said about, okay, I'm going to be a jack of all trades, but I'm going to specialize in this one thing deeper than others. And if you have a family, a group, and there are people who are willing to take an assignment, say, yeah, I'll learn how to suture, I'll learn how to do this and that and be really good at it. So I think definitely something to be said about people having some specialty skills.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of where we're going to end for tonight. Like, look at your group, look at your needs, assess what's really important, make sure everyone has the basic skills of shelter building, of heat. So knowing how to do a fire, how to take care of all those things, the basics of water filtration, water purification, the basics of cooking and cleaning. Hygiene is going to be so important. If you've got those as your foundation, everyone needs to know how to do those things. From there, then it goes into, you can specialize and specialize out and make sure everyone in your group has a different specialty. And if you can be as redundant as possible, be as redundant as possible. And you're going to make less mistakes. You're going to have more successes. And at the end of the day, you're going to be a lot happier and you're going to be a lot more at peace, because you're taking care of the things that are the right things to take care of. Any final thoughts, guys?
No, I had a warning I wanted to kind of share with everybody. Maybe we do that at the beginning of the next segment that we do.
You're gonna make all the listeners wait 3 days for that one?
Yes, let's do that. And because man, and I'm kind of beginning something where we're trying to end, right? So I don't want to do that, but just hopefully your eyes are open. Hopefully you're seeing what's going on out there. And I know it's hard to compute. You got all this stuff coming in. What does this all mean? It's very difficult to make sense of it. But things are happening, and I hope you're taking it seriously and really getting prepared right now.
Yeah.
Amen.
Pay attention. Well,
guys, thanks for tuning in this week. Thanks for tuning in for this episode. Again, this episode has been brought to you by both Jase Medical, jasemedical.com. Save $10 using the promo code PrepperTalk, and the Ready Summit, thereadysummit.com. That goes live on the 28th of July. So make sure you get your discount tickets now. Prepper Talk is your promo code. Save 10% there. Stay tuned in. Don't ever tune out. And stay awake. Stay alert. And pay attention. It's going to be the difference in life. It's going to make you happier. It's going to make you more peaceful. And make you more successful. Have an awesome day.